Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new episode of At the Buzzer Sports, where we talk all things basketball all the time. I am your host, John Drummond, and I was scrolling through Twitter. I just sit in my office, just staying ready just in case there's some basketball news that comes out or a basketball idea just strikes my head, and I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see that Vince Williams is going to be missing maybe the first week or two of the NBA season, and that's not even when he will be coming back. That's when he'll be getting reevaluated. And it really upsets me because the Memphis Grizzlies have so much going into the season. They have so much pressure on guys like Ja Morant, on guys like Zach Edey, and on the entire organization in general. And now you have two wings that you are supposed to be giving a lot of minutes to this season who are already injured. You got a young star and a guy like Gigi Jackson, who is going to be 19 heading into his second season. He is still very, very, very young. So there is still a lot to mold there, but he definitely showed the signs that he can be one of the high-level starters in the NBA. You have Vince Williams, who is a great on-ball defender, and I think he shot like 38% from 3-on-4 attempts. And now you don't have both of these guys coming in. And one of the biggest things that I've been very critical on the Memphis Grizzlies this season is they do not have a lot of depth. And when you talk about the Memphis Grizzlies and the depth they had when they were the 2 seed in the Western Conference, they had guys like Tyus Jones, they had guys like Dillon Brooks, but now the guys that are supposed to be replacing them, even guys like Steven Adams, which gave this team the amount of size they needed to go up against some of these Western Conference teams. And now when I look at guys like Vince Williams and Zach Edey, who are supposed to replace them, I don't know if they can produce at the level that those guys gave you when they were the 2 seed in the Western Conference. Okay, so if we just take a quick look right here, it says Memphis Grizzlies, Vince Williams Jr. injures left shin and expected to miss the start of the season. Vince Williams Jr. had a stress reaction in his upper portion of his left tibia, and the team announced on Friday he will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. The injury occurred during a recent training. The Grizzlies said Memphis will begin preseason training camp on Tuesday at Ensworth High School in Nashville. The injury is a crucial blow to the Grizzlies and Williams. For the Grizzlies, they're losing one of their most impactful wing defenders. Williams went from starting last season on a 2-way contract to earning a 4-year deal while guarding the opposing team's best perimeter player and shooting a respectable 37.8% on three-pointers. Okay, so I was right about the three-point percentage. Come on, I know what I'm talking about. All right, it says Williams joins forward Gigi Jackson as Grizzlies player who have suffered injuries that will delay their starts to upcoming seasons. Jackson is dealing with a right foot injury that is likely to sideline him until December. And if we take a quick look at Vince Williams' stats, he was giving you about 10 points on 55% effective field goal percentage, 45% from the field, and about 38% from 3-on-4 attempts. And if you ask me, he should have definitely been the starting small forward for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I saw a thing where the projected starting lineup was going to be Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and Brandon Clark. Well, in my opinion, I think at least for opening night, the starting lineup should be Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Vince Williams, Jaren Jackson, and Brandon Clark. I don't mind Zach Edey becoming the starter eventually, but I just don't think throwing a rookie center into the fire when you're expected to win games early, and with all the pressure on this team, you spent back-to-back years as a top 2 seed, and now that is the expectation that you're going to have coming into this season to be a contender in the Western Conference. I think the best way to generate wins right now is to play the more experienced center, but that's for another video. And if we take a look at the advanced stats real fast, I mean, Vince Williams was 3rd on the team in defensive win shares, and he was 3rd on the team in win shares, period. And win shares per 48, he was actually 7th, And then when we look at guys who are minutes played, these guys like him, I don't think. And then Ja Morant only played 9 games. Brandon Clark only played 6 games. So I still think this is pretty high enough for me. And then when we look at some of the guys on this team, Ja Morant played 9 games. Desmond Bane only played 42 games. Marcus Smart played 20 games. And then Brandon Clark, who is, I don't know where he is. It looked like he only played like 6 games. So this team already has some injury concern coming in, and I think Ja Morant needs to at least touch up on that just a little bit. I think with his play style, he's so liable to get hurt. Like, I don't think I've seen a player as athletic as Ja Morant be so reckless when he goes to the rim. Like, sometimes I see Ja Morant just throw himself into players, and I think that's kind of reckless, and somebody needs to tell him about himself. I think saying tell him about himself was a little harsh, but that's the truth. I mean, I think Ja Morant is once again a phenomenal player, top 5 point guard in the league, and my second favorite player in the NBA. You know, I can't doubt Bron. I can't doubt Bron. I can never do it. But and with a Memphis Grizzly team that's just has been so riddled with injuries these past few years. I mean, even the year before last when they went against the Lakers, they didn't have Brandon Clark or Steven Adams. So guys like Jaren Jackson had to play the 5 position. And this is a team who I think, in my opinion, is going to be predicated off of their defense. And if they're not going to be above average or a top 10 defense in the league like I think they're going to be, then I think they're going to slip in the standings. But in the end of the day, I mean, you still have guys like Ja Morant and Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson. You still have your big three. You still have a former defensive player of the year in Marcus Smart. I still think there is some optimism to have coming into the season on how you guys can still be a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. Zach Edey, in my opinion, is going to fit very well with this Memphis Grizzlies team. And there are a lot of things to look forward to. But with the injury concern that the Memphis Grizzlies have built up for themselves in the past few years, it's only fair to put that in the back of your head and really think about it as something that could be concerning, especially going into the end of the season and going into the playoffs. So once again, this was just a quick video to talk about the injury to Vince Williams, the injury to G.D. Jackson, and how injury prone the Memphis Grizzlies have been. If they are fully healthy, I definitely think they can be a top 5 seed in the Western Conference, and they maybe can win a playoff series. It's a very tough Western Conference though, so I'm not going to give anybody any definites, but I still think they're a very talented team. It just sucks to see them get injured so much. And if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.